You guys, welcome back to Keels, and yes, I'm now here to talk about Francis Ngannou and what could be next for him. I feel like it's a really, really, really interesting question. In boxing as well, like, who could be next for him and who are the guys who he can compete with? Because, there are many fellow boxing fans saying, oh, it's a bit of a fluke against Fury. But I do feel like Ngannou showed some, he showed some real good skills in that fight, in my opinion, with his timing against Tyson Fury, timed it really well. And obviously, you need to look at the power factor as well. But if we look at Francis Ngannou, though, he is there to hit. And, if I feel like if he goes up against an Anthony Joshua or a Deontay Wilder, I feel like he definitely gets knocked out against, definitely against one of those two. And like someone like Zhang as well. But I feel like, there are some good fights up at heavyweight that Francis Ngannou can win, though. But I do feel like there are some people getting a little bit carried away with it, though, in my opinion. But, obviously, thank you to Francis Ngannou for humbling Tyson Fury. We really needed you to do that, so thank you very much, Francis Ngannou. You did a great job there, but I do feel like there are some fights where he's eventually going to get out of his depth and get knocked out, in my opinion, as he keeps going up, in my opinion. As much as I like Francis Ngannou, I just feel like if he fights an AJ, Zhang, or Wilder, then he gets knocked out. But there are some guys who he can compete with, though, at heavyweight. I feel like a fight with him and Dillian White would be good. And I feel like it's a fight that Ngannou would win as well against Dillian White. And I feel like, overall, it's definitely a fight that's possible to make, in my opinion. Francis Ngannou and Dillian White. Definitely a fight that's possible to make. And I feel like it would be able to sell some decent numbers, if I'm being completely honest with you. I honestly feel like Francis Ngannou and Dillian White could be a good fight, which sells numbers 100%. Francis Ngannou and Derek Chisora, that definitely does numbers. I feel like it could do better numbers than the Dillian White fight. I feel like Ngannou can win that fight again, in my opinion, against Derek Chisora. Chisora's just not looking the same right now, and we saw a good performance that Ngannou put up against Fury, and Ngannou's definitely gonna, in my opinion, be able to beat Derek Chisora, in my opinion, definitely. But bad matchups for Ngannou, like Ngannou's been rumored to fight someone like Zhang, and I feel like that's a really bad matchup for him. Zhang, first of all, can match him with the southpaw stance, and Zhang, he measures the range really well with the jab, got a real good jab, and the left hand is deadly, and I feel like Ngannou, with his lack of head movement, will just be walking onto it, in my opinion, and I don't feel like Zhang would fall into too many traps that Ngannou sets, and I feel like Zhang, he'll have a much higher punch volume. He's not as patient as Francis Ngannou, and he'll be able. Yeah, I see Zhang being able to get him out of there. Joseph Parker and Ngannou, again, I feel like it's an interesting fight. I don't think that one would do great numbers, though, Parker and Ngannou. I feel like, I see a world where Parker can outbox Ngannou, in my opinion. I honestly think Parker can outbox him, but I also see a world where Ngannou is able to go out there and catch Parker, though. But I see Parker being able to dominate the fight, but then there's a possibility that Ngannou can knock him out, though, in my opinion. But yeah, again, with the Zhang fight, Zhang beats him. Zhang be too quick for him. And I feel like Zhang would just overwhelm him massively, and Zhang would stop Ngannou. With an Anthony Joshua and Ngannou fight, that one does massive numbers. Zhang and Ngannou, by the way, don't think that does great numbers. Joshua and Ngannou does great numbers, in my opinion. But I feel like AJ would have it one-sided, though. I honestly do. I feel like AJ would be able to outbox him, and then I see AJ being able to stop Ngannou, to be fair. I see that fight one-sided in AJ's to AJ. It's one-sided to AJ, in my opinion, if he fights Ngannou. People might disagree, but no, it will be one-sided to AJ, in my opinion. AJ destroys him. Deontay Wilder knocks Ngannou out. I see Wilder being able to get Ngannou out there fairly early, to be fair. Ngannou will walk onto something stupid, in my opinion, and Ngannou does set his shots up well, but Wilder would just come out absolutely swinging, or Wilder would come through with like a proper good 1-2 down the pipe with a massive right hand and get him out of there. Well, in my opinion, Ngannou's not got. I just don't think he's got the footwork or the head movement to get away from Wilder's right hand. So yeah, but Who is there that, I mean, obviously, Dillian White, who I think Ngannou would be, Chisora, I think Ngannou would be, and those two fights do great numbers in my opinion. The Parker Ngannou fight's been rumored, but I don't think that does great numbers. I honestly don't. It doesn't do great numbers in my opinion. Um, what other interesting fights are there? I feel like a Joe Joyce and Ngannou fight, I feel like it's an interesting fight as well. I feel like that can do good numbers, Joyce and Ngannou. Definitely. I mean, I feel like that's a really interesting fight as well. Like, you never know, Ngannou could time Joe Joyce coming in. And people, like, you can't rule Ngannou out of anything anymore, in my opinion. You can't fully rule them out. But especially with what he was able to do against Fury. But I feel like, there's a world where Joyce is just able to walk Ngannou down. But, there's definitely a chance that he walks onto something as well. But Joyce has got a good chin. Didn't hold up against Zhang, but I feel like no, I feel like Joyce can. I feel like Joyce beats Ngannou, but again, Ngannou's definitely got a chance of winning that though. I feel like that's a good fight in my opinion. I feel like I'd edge to Joyce to beat Ngannou, but if Ngannou wins, then I know, and then I think Ngannou could beat him because Joyce, he's just very one dimensional. But I don't know, Ngannou could time him coming in well, but Joe Joyce, he's good at coming off the ring and being able to walk you down. That's an interesting fight, and that does good pay-per-view numbers in my opinion. There are lots of good and interesting fights for Francis Ngannou in the heavyweight division. And I was trying to think of names like Chisora, Joyce, White that do good numbers in my opinion, which I think are realistic matches that Ngannou has a good chance in to win. But if Ngannou fights Usyk, if he fights if not Fury, if he fights Usyk, if he fights AJ, if he fights Zhang, if he fights Wilder, I think all them beat him. In my opinion, I think like Makhmedov beats him as well. I feel like but there are some good matchups out there for him. But I do feel like as Ngannou goes on, he'll eventually get shot and he'll eventually get knocked out. But look, that's just what I honestly think. Thank God for Francis Ngannou being able to humble Tyson Fury, and Ngannou was able to expose quite a few things when he fought Fury. So thank you very much, Francis Ngannou, you absolute legend. But look, I feel like he struggles in some matchups. To be fair, anyway, especially against the top 5 and a few in the top 10. But there are a few in the top 10 which are winnable for him. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace out.